Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We're stepping nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but need never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Welcome once again to the program. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday, despite the tragic news that most of us have come to learn over the past 24 hours. It's been a hell of a day, I guess, to say the least. We're going to get into that and so much more. We got Brian here, a.k.a. That 70s Rock Fan. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, mate. How are you?
I'm going to crank this up to 11.
Oh, you're going to crank it up to 11, are you? Yes.
Is these guys to 11?
Hopefully it's an old Valve amplifier, not one of your modern digital things.
These go to
You know
11.
what I mean? Yeah. Well, you know, it's a fine line between...
Clever and stupid.
It's not a
Yes,
sexist, not sexy.
What's wrong with being sexy? So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Spinal Tap. We'll talk a little bit about Paramount and Warner Brothers, and of course, Charlie Kirk as well. And whatever you guys want us to talk about, feel free to send in a super chat with any kind of question. Even if you want to know where babies come from, I will tell you the answer. And the answer, China. How you doing, CC?
Doing all right. Been playing Hollow Knight Silksong and quite enjoying it. So about 10 hours into it and totally recommend it so far.
Those Hollow Nights.
Did you have to wait till they nerfed it?
No, and I'm not downloading that patch. If you think it's too hard, get good. It's
Get good.
Yeah.
Get good.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, so far anyway, we've got all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser, and I'm told there is a secret mystery 33rd flavor coming soon.
It's not only coming soon, but it's going to come. And when it does, it's going to be huge. I'm okay. Oh, go ahead.
Which is funny because I heard that's the flavor.
Has it got the word goo in the title?
Yes.
Man goo. Man goo.
It's man goo flavor. Yes. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing okay, you know, despite all things. It's actually my first YouTube anything I've done. I was actually supposed to record a video yesterday. I was even thinking about doing a member stream, but yesterday just kind of flat out derailed my mindset doing any respect to anyone who can, but I just didn't have it within me to do that or even read my books this week. So yeah, this is me doing something again. So yeah, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Spinal Tap. I'm very curious.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about the sad news, because, I mean, this is on everybody's mind. Now, I'll be upfront. Charlie Kirk is not somebody who I followed. I don't dislike him. Didn't agree with everything he said always, but I didn't dislike him. I will never deny that he wasn't a controversial figure. But that being said, yesterday things changed. This is to me the equivalent of, say, the assassination of Malcolm X. And I know some people may resist that, but you know what? Fuck them. Because this person was very important to a specific political sphere. And at this point, this is a political sphere that has felt like they've been under attack for quite some time. So I feel like this might be one of those powder keg moments. But all that aside, we have a family that lost a father, a husband, a son, a brother, a nephew, a cousin. And that's the thing that I think is most important here, that a lot of the media and a lot of other people who have zero tact can remember. Because regardless of whether or not you agreed with Charlie Kirk, that's not the point. Nobody deserves to die for their opinion. I don't give a shit what it is. Right? Like, even the worst opinions.
It's disappointing to see people celebrating the death of somebody.
That's the thing that's most disgusting, right? I mean, besides the obvious act itself, right? Yeah. And I agree with you, Brian. Like, and I've seen, and there's floods of them out there. The disgusting display of the celebrations, the TMZ snafu, the individuals who've already lost their jobs over this. And look, I'm not somebody who believes in cancel culture, and I don't even necessarily agree that they should have lost their jobs. But if you're somebody who's in the public sphere like that, I mean, it does come with a certain responsibility of, you know, when you're reporting these kind of things, regardless, like, I don't even remember people celebrating this much when Saddam Hussein was killed. See what I mean? Like, that's the caliber I'm talking about. Like, even one of the most disgusting people in the world in history, right up there with, you know, Hitler. And I don't even remember people celebrating that much. I mean, I do remember, plenty of people are saying, yeah, we finally got the son of a bitch. But I don't remember anybody, you know, sitting there going, like, yeah, all the time. Like, I'm sure there were. But even then, that seems more justified than something like this. This is a fellow American. Right? Like, this I don't understand. Is the reaction to me has been just disgusting. But anyway, Brian, it sounds like you have a few things to say, and then we'll go down the line here.
Well, first of all, I mean, I wasn't, I didn't particularly follow him, if you want to call it like that. But I mean, I certainly was well aware of who he was and his influence. But it's very disappointing to me that, disappointing is the wrong word. It's not strong enough word. That somebody who basically all they did was talk and wanted to talk and debate other people who had different views, that his family should be robbed of him because of that. It's not like he was a firebrand out there, doing provocative. I don't think it was provocative. This was a guy who debated people, who would talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing is not strong enough word. I don't know what word to use.
Yeah, somebody who actually had discourse with people was taken out.
Discourse, and that discourse has been brutally slapped down in the most disgusting way, regardless of who he was or his views. If it was someone who had the opposite views but was still trying to do what he was doing, it would have still been equally as disgusting. What have we come to? What does the world come to? You know, that you can't have a debate anymore, and that someone is automatically branded because they have a different view from you as, you know, evil and not to be allowed to continue. It's just, what kind of a world have we reached? And the media are disgusting. I don't believe, this is my personal opinion, not Midnight's Hedge After Dark. I don't believe a word that TMZ say about what happened.
Me neither.
There.
We actually agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the media are just repulsive.
Well, and you know why I agree with you is because there's actual proof to back it up.
Yeah.
Because I was on WDW Pro today, and those guys were clever enough to do their due diligence, and they checked. There was zero car chases going on at that time. And what people cheer during the end of a car chase?
Yeah, but also I found it very curious that, first of all, people are, perhaps it's a conspiracy theory, saying the LA New York Times had published stories before it even happened, date-wise, but there was immediately a book published on Amazon about this. Well, in fact, published the day before, almost as if somebody was aware something was going to happen. So there's all sorts of strange things about that. But this is not some random event. It's a well-planned, well-funded, well-supported event.
Oh, yeah, it was even probably more well-planned than the attempted Trump assassination.
Which we still know virtually nothing about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, along with many other of these similar events have happened in the last 2 years. You know, they get
a lot of shit
hold
popped off yesterday. Yeah.
So it's repulsive. The whole thing is, I mean, I just feel so bad for his wife and kids. Just absolutely repulsive what happened. Just because he disagreed with some people.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, thank you, Brian, for I agree with pretty much everything you said. I mean, I'm not going to dive down conspiracy holes or anything like that, but yeah, yesterday was a very strange day, being the day before 9/11, and you had a school shooting going on at the exact same time this happened. And there's a lot of strange, and the FBI has like zilch. It's like, in what world?
Yeah, it's funny, like, they never seem to have anything when it comes to these types of events.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but no, thank you so much, Brian, for everything you said, and I agree with it. Like I said, and CC, another non-American, but I'm sure somebody who, has heard plenty of what Charlie Kirk has said over the years. And
he was very well known around the world. Surprised me how well known he was around the world, like everywhere. So that was a surprise to me.
I mean, he's a substantial figure. There's no question about that. I guess, my thoughts are, we've always had conflict throughout history. Like, as human beings, we've always fought each other. There's been wars, gracefully no world wars for quite some time now when you think about it. 80 years, right? But we've always been at conflict with one another. And one of the differences between today and yesterday, obviously, would be, the internet, modern technology, and the algorithm itself. It's. I mean, I wouldn't AI does not think. I mean, I can certainly get into conspiracy territory and say, oh, maybe it already thinks, But in concept, a basic algorithm is not intelligent. It is.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of thinks in a way, but I think you mean sentient. Yeah. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not sentient. It has a purpose. Its purpose is to sell. It is to profit. It is to sell any user on what it is they're most likely to interact with. And I do think that's part of what we've been experiencing over the last 10, 15 years in particular, as this has become more of a part of our lives, the TikTok generation. It's going to feed in to the car crashes. There's the whole thing, where it's like, where there's a car crash on one side of the highway, but there's a traffic jam on the opposite side of the highway because everybody's got to slow down and look at it. And division sells, conflict sells. I've been talking to my good American friend who I was visiting the last couple of weeks. It's like, I don't think that Canada and the United States are actually all that different when you think about it. I mean, Canada has its own California. It has its own Texas. It has Quebec. It has a very similar swath of general beliefs and political leanings, right, from left to right, as the United States does. But it sells to tell us all that we're so very different and that we should be fighting one another. And I don't know who did this. I'm not going to go so far as to say I don't know why. but we don't know who yet. That's fine. Okay. But it was definitely driven by that conflict, either by somebody who really thought that Charlie Kirk was somebody who was harming the world so much that it was worth doing this, or because, if we get into conspiracy territory, somebody manufactured the hit to cause more division, to try and drive people to cause more conflict, to hurt each other even more. And so one of the commentaries I've seen over the last day that I would agree with most here is that violence is not the answer to this situation. However you may react to it, however you may discuss it or feel about it, escalating the conflict is not the solution. I guess that's about all my thoughts on it. It's other than that to say that it is a tragedy, and frankly, he has a wife, he has 2 kids, he has friends. There's a whole, there's a whole gamut of just loss around that.
I feel so bad for his wife and kids.
Yeah.
It's just heartbreaking. And doesn't matter who it would be heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have Mark joining us. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, yeah, good to be here. Just got back from work and wanted to hop on, and was only able to hear the last couple of minutes. But yeah, just a terrible day yesterday, and God, it's just horrible. Yet someone who's just speaking his mind, gets assassinated, and the reaction too on on the socials. There's been horrific reaction. I just can't believe how terrible people are. I mean, you don't agree with the guy, but have people saying he deserved it, and you reap what you sow. And I was having a bad day yesterday, and I looked at the news and all smiles. Just terrible, inhumane stuff.
I mean, what exactly did he sow that they were talking about? He debated people. He had an opinion which he debated people on, and I don't recall him ever being seen as being abrasive or confrontational in that sense. So,
well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's never had a controversial opinion, right? He is, I guess, he was very anti, gay marriage. He did supposedly have some pretty controversial opinions about the trans community and whatnot. But that, to me, again, going back to my initial point, that is not, I don't give a shit what you say.
well,
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Did he call for violence against anybody?
That's just it. It's not that I know of. And
so therefore, why is that reaping what he sowed?
And there's even some really disgusting shit I think somebody could say, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that they should be punished or persecuted in a way by law for what they say. That's something actions are a totally different thing, right? Like, I mean, this is where we're talking. Like you said, I don't think he's ever incited violence as far as I can tell. In fact, that goes against everything he's stood for as far as I know. Like his whole idea is debate me, right? Like come at me with whatever you got, with your best shot, with your best argument being the operative word here. And I will try to debate you in that. Right now, at the end of the day, I don't see where that incites violence in any way, shape, or form. But anyway,
well, the problem. Well, just gonna say real quickly, the problem is that the other side, some of the people on the other side say that words are violence, and this is justified. So
see, and that's a problem. They're trying to
reclassify
bullshit.
Will always be different when it comes to them. Anytime something doesn't tilt their way to their political benefit, it will always be magically different. Doesn't matter the context, doesn't matter the reason. Anytime it's the slightest of a disadvantage, it will always be justified to be in their favor. It's always going to be different no matter what. So that way they always come out on top.
Well, Nick, what's your feelings on this now that you have the podium?
Oh, so now that I have it. So I know I'm funny you mentioned the Charlie Kirk on gay marriage. Now he's not opposed to gay people. I've actually seen him say on video on college campus. It's not my preferable thing. But if you're someone who happens to lean my way and you are that way, at the end of the day, what you do in the bedroom is your business. That's not an important thing for him. He's just not really into it per se. Now that said, Charlie Kirk to me, he was someone I wasn't really fond of, admittedly, at first. And I grew a little bit more fond of it. But even when I grew a little bit more fond of him, he definitely had some takes I was not really a fan of, per se. But that all said, it wasn't lost on me how influential he was to, let's just say, people on the right, especially to young people. And he was a lot more influential than I realized. Because this part I didn't know, but until I talked to other friends of mine who are, let's just say, are a bit more to the right than I am, I would hear how a lot of their kids, sons and daughters, were into Charlie Kirk. I was like, oh, whoa, what? I didn't know that. And even when he came to town in Illinois, a town called St. Charles, a good chunk of the crowd is young people. And that was like, oh, whoa, okay, that's actually interesting, even though I'm kind of like conflicted on some of his takes. But that was really interesting to me that he had that type of effect. I mean, also, let's not forget, he was on South Park. I mean, if you're on South Park, and the fact is, many people were mad that he didn't get like offended by it. I even pointed out to some like leftists, oh, he just has no shame, he has no empathy. I'm like, bullshit. If he had went on crying about how they made fun of, you would have gone on and said, oh, you can't take a joke. He can't take a joke. But now that you're mad that he's leaning into it, it just doesn't matter. You were already going to have a negative take on him no matter what he had done. You just needed to find a reason to be mad about him for some reason. But once again, bring it back to the tragedy. Yeah, everything about it is bullshit. I hope this guy is actually brought to justice, and I hope we actually have a legal system that actually fucking does something for once. Every time they always talk about how we need to be hard on crime. We need to stop letting criminals like this run free on our fucking planet. This isn't about speech. This is about the acts that these people do that tend to follow their words. So we need to freaking hold them liable. I'm sick and tired of this shit happening. And it's funny how 80% of this violence, this to the point of murder, has swung one way, absolutely one way, absolutely batshit insane. So somebody better find this guy, and we better skip all this fucking legal bullshit where, yeah, sure, give him one trial just so we can hear what motivate him. Fine. I want to know what motivate him to do this too. But nothing less than the fucking death penalty.
And he may not have been acting alone. I mean, there's
he probably was. That's why
suggestions that there were others in the crowd that were involved, that spotters or whatever. But anyway,
he wasn't acting alone. He definitely was.
Probably some kind of organization involved, whether it be just individuals in the organization or something. I don't think
we don't know yet, and unfortunately,
we don't know. I know, but
to speculate is kind of frivolous at this point. But I did say on X, and I stand by this, and this goes for even like the Trump attempted assassin who is supposedly a supporter of Trump, and I call bullshit. Clearly, you're not a supporter of Trump if you're shooting at the motherfucker.
Well, Trump got in liberal form.
That is the dumbest shit I ever saw in my life. So, like, at this point, I stand by what I said. Whenever conservatives or Republicans buy guns, generally it's for one of two things, protection or hunting. But whenever somebody on the left does, it's to fucking kill somebody. Okay, that is, I've never, outside of somebody who actually leaves the left, heard of anybody buying a gun for any other fucking reason on the left, right? Like, I've seen plenty of people like Anna Kasparian and all these others who have been like, I've been attacked, and I've realized that these fucking, policies that I've been rooting for all this time have gotten me attacked. And now I'm no longer left, and I've got a gun, and I live in a fucking gated community and all this other bullshit. Because a lot of people have woke up to this bullshit, right? And it's irony of ironies is that he was talking about gang violence when this fucking happened, right? So
his last words, his last words.
Seemed to be a very specific timing. Very specific timing.
If you listen to CNN,
question.
He had cultural symbols.
Oh God, I heard about that. I didn't
cultural
watch
symbols,
the video, but and that's CNN, of course. That's all our lovely. They can always be trusted media outlets.
Isn't Larry Ellison going to buy them?
He's trying to find a way to downplay everything because nothing that swings in that politically slanted direction is ever in the wrong in any way. I mean, if you still trust any of those outlets, either you in any way. It's one thing to say, yeah, they lie about every single thing. And be careful even with that. But you should never have at the very least, don't have blind trust in them. Don't have that.
Oh, fuck the media at this point. Like, the media can sit and spin. And I've been telling everybody forever on that, but yeah.
No,
Well, look
that's
at
what I'm getting at. I mean, the claim is that the killer had trans symbols. Whether or not that's true.
Oh, I thought you meant that the
main-
Charlie Kirk had been
Oh,
doing some like random gang symbols or
no,
something. Like,
no,
I
no,
wouldn't put
no,
it
no,
past them
the-
to come up with some stupid shit like that.
The claim is that the person who shot Charlie Kirk had trans symbols. But I mean, besides that, the mainstream media ran with it as cultural symbols, right? And so I mean that even if I'm
Well,
not
the FBI
taking,
can't seem to find
yeah.
shit, but the internet seems to have found somebody they think that it is, and this person would fit the bill that you're saying, basically. Now, again, I'm not going to say who it is because we haven't got any confirmations, but go ahead and look on X. There's a few people who've done what the internet does, and that's the sad part. The fucking internet's more competent than.
Well, yeah, look
our
at
own
the
law
surveillance.
enforcement.
I mean, everyone's, well, not everyone, but there's so many ring cameras out there. And as I was talking with someone this morning, like, yeah, maybe they don't have them at the scene, directly, but they'll have them coming and going. And I just saw some ring camera footage, and I think he was concealing the long gun.
I saw a video of a guy who saw somebody on a roof
Olympic.
jump from one roof to another, much like the whole Trump incident. So, like, that makes you wonder too. So, like, again, there's enough out there. I'm sure we'll get more info on this as it goes on. But then again, I wonder if we really will. Like Nick pointed out earlier, we still don't know jack shit really about the would-be Trump assassins.
Yeah, we still
Well, that's
don't
it,
know.
right?
about
If they don't want to report on it, or if they're not allowed to.
No, well, they don't
No,
want
it's
to.
not
They
that
don't want certain narratives out. That's the problem. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was getting at with the cultural symbols. It's like, well, we have to report this now. We weren't going to, right? We'll call it cultural symbols.
Well, this is where
Yeah.
shit is tipped, right? Like, we had been in a different place, had Trump actually been assassinated. I think we'd be in a much worse spot. Like, this is almost,
oh my God.
and this is where I was saying, on another podcast, where this is what makes me sad about my conservative brethren, because look, I could still consider myself somebody who's more in the center. I'm somebody who the left left me. Yes, I voted for Trump this last election, but I voted for Trump, not the Republicans, right? Like, that was kind of more the thing. I was voting for Trump. I was voting for his team, for the fact that he was listening to Elon and the ideas that RFK and certain other people were having. That is what I voted for. But that being said, like, to me, this whole thing came to a head yesterday afternoon when we saw, for the first time, people on the left facing consequences. And I wouldn't even necessarily call it cancel culture in a way. It kind of is. But at the same time, it's more of a consequence of your behavior. And, we discussed how people were celebrating this on like, I've got videos.
Yes.
We could show them. I got minutes of videos of people just celebrating this shit on Instagram. But
What
to
did you
me,
talk about?
DC
Well, Matthew-
comic.
I was just going to say, you've got the DC
Matthew Dowd.
Gretchen person. You got the Matthew Dowd who's been fired now. You have the TMZ incident. And that's, I don't believe a fucking single word of their bullshit fucking explanation on that one, as I said before.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more than a few now that have been, that have come out now that have been fired for their stupid bullshit that they've said. Like Van Jones is another one I think who needs to be reprimanded too. Like, because he's one of the people that I think fired this whole thing up. Right. And that's the other thing with the media. And this is what I was saying during the whole Trump thing, that they need to be held fucking responsible because they are not living up to the standards that I was taught in school 25 years ago. Right. Like, that's the thing, is like, it didn't matter when I was taught shit in school. It was like, it doesn't matter what your fucking belief system is. There's the news and then there's your, fucking opinion. Right. And when you're somebody in a position like that, it's your fucking responsibility to report the news and not editorialize. And this is where I did make the excuse for all those, people in the media who were basically doing a rip and read of that one story where everybody had, clips of everybody around the country reading the same thing. Well, that's where I tried to explain to people, look, I will give them this excuse. I'm not saying about the content of what they were reading. I will say this though. When you're in radio, when you're in television, you get what's a rip and read situation where you can't change anything. They give it to you straight off the AP network news and you read it word for word. Otherwise you could lose your job because that's the only way they trust what's going out on the airwaves. So that being said, like, I get that, but at the same time, that's a uniformity that some people may not agree with. And I understand that's why we have Fox News and that's why we have MSNBC. We have these other news channels that do lean in a certain direction, and they are classified as entertainment networks and not news networks for that specific fucking reason. But now that line has been so blurred right? When you see morning shows and other news programs that are still labeled as news doing this kind of shit, this is where the country gets fucking fired up and pushed into directions they shouldn't be. It reminds me of everything I've read and studied about the civil rights movement era. Like, I wasn't alive then, but I've talked to people, I've read up on it, I've seen documentaries, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's what this feels like to me, is we're at this point now where, like, and I've seen some people get real offended when, you know, Charlie Kirk's been compared to Martin Luther King. Now, look, I wouldn't necessarily compare him to Martin Luther King because of his character, but I would compare him to somebody like Malcolm X, to where he's somebody where his death is going to get people fired up, right? It's going to be a big deal. And if anybody should understand this, we're repeating history all over again. It's just the other side of the coin.
People are really angry. Yeah, it's you know, like that Matthew Dowd story. He started a comment that got him fired, but first he said, "Oh, maybe some supporters fired off some shots in celebration."
That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Said that. Oh God. And you know, going back to the news as you're talking about, Tom, I mean, this is an old book now, but Bias by Bernard Goldberg, who worked at CBS, and it was all started over. Dan Rather was doing a report on the political election, and he was making fun of the flat tax and making fun of Forbes, like basically laughing. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is CBS Nightly News making like, and know both sides. So that book Bias, if you look it up, is a phenomenal read. But you know how the news just is towards one side. So now you've got these, you know, Fox and MSNBC. They're basically opinion networks now. There's no, you know, Fox is a hard news segment, but most of the.
Sorry, Mark.
No, I was just gonna say that's okay. Yeah, but just you know, you've got these opinion segments, but they're just so biased.
You probably don't see it because you're in the US, but in Canada and Europe, and recently I was in the UK recently. There is no two sides on the news. Only one side is ever presented. That's presented as the news, and it's usually the government side or the ruling establishment side. So it's always they present it in let's take the BBC as government minister says something. Here's what's good about it, and now let's move on to the next item.
Yeah.
So there is
CBC
no
up here.
CBC is the same. Such and such is going to happen. This is why. Interview government person, move on. So there is no, well, let's take a look at this from a critical perspective. What are the opponents saying? What are the people who disagree with this saying? There is none of that. It's presented as issue, talk to person supporting issue, move on. And it's usually always government person that's fully into net zero, let's say, or.
And this has just come across, I guess, Paramount Plus has pulled down the entire 27th season of South Park. Not just the one episode,
entire season,
but the entire season now.
That's just dumb.
You shouldn't do that. No,
you shouldn't do that, because honestly, it makes, I don't know.
Honestly, I don't even think the episode they did on Charlie was that bad, to be honest.
No,
he liked it. Charlie liked it.
He was supportive of it.
See, that's not right. They shouldn't do that.
Stand by your work. Don't just pretend like, oh God, now we gotta pretend like we never did. It just makes you look like a fucking coward. Just stand by what you did. On top of it, Charlie Kirk leaned into it as well. This is what brings it to what I said earlier. It doesn't matter how he handled it. They're going to get mad at how he responded to it anyway. If he had went on like being mad and angry about like, oh, he can't take a joke, but then he leaned into it. Oh no, he doesn't care that they're making fun of him. He must be a careless man.
They should stand by their work, and they shouldn't have to pull it down.
And frankly, we're all talking about it, and they have every right to talk about it as well. I mean, I would have been fine with them addressing it with the next episode. Now, would they address it in an appropriate way? I don't know. But I mean, everyone has the right to discuss this.
I still have this. Yeah, sorry, Cece. I just want to say I still have this weird feeling, because knowing the guys of South Park, as I don't know them personally, but I know of them, I still felt like this whole season was leading up to something, right? Like this whole them bashing Trump was too easy. Like that's too easy for them. And to me, it feels like they were making a point. They were leading up to a point. It could have even been that the whole, the media is treating Trump like the devil and all that kind of stuff. It could have been something along those lines. I don't know. It could have been leading up to something. I have a weird feeling now, all of a sudden, though, that this is going to get so controversial, they're going to pull the whole rest of the season.
But is it canceled? I mean, the season, they're never going to show it.
They haven't said that yet.
Or they just, because of course, this is the anniversary of 9/11. So Spider-Man, the movie Spider-Man, famously had a scene with the Twin Towers,
Yeah.
and it was in the but that's totally different.
Wasn't
That's
that the same as
sensitive.
didn't they do that for the Time Machine movie, the Guy Pearce one? The time.
I think they did some changes on that, but I have no
because
idea
that
what it
had
had to do with.
that had the Twin Towers in it too, or something in there.
Yeah, there's a few movies
destroyed,
they had to
yeah.
change a few things, but that's a little different.
That's
I agree with
different,
Nick.
yeah.
Like pulling the whole season is almost like, and I wonder if Matt and Trey are even on board with that.
I want to hear
'Cause
what
to me-
they have to say. Like,
Yeah, I don't
exactly.
think they're.
Make your episode.
Make
Make it. I want to see it.
On top of it, like, how about, you know what? Hey, we didn't actually wish death on Kirk. We were just having fun making fun of him.
Yeah,
I hope he rests
But they
well.
didn't.
You know the old
yeah.
classic. I learned something today line. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Do
not
something
to blame.
actually like thoughtful. You have that opportunity.
They are not to
know?
blame for what happened, and it's
No, but I can see this as an area that might even be a bit too sensitive for South Park to kind of dive into, to where I wonder if they're, because here's the thing, they did have a week off that was already set up for the anniversary thing. So that was their first week off, and then they took another week off last week, and that we never got a reason for. But now, what was this week? Weren't they supposed to have a new episode last night and it didn't air? Or something like that? I can't remember now.
I don't know. I don't know.
When I checked yesterday, it was listed as the 17th, so I hadn't checked.
Okay, so
to
they
see if it
still
was
haven't
listed
got
as
an
the 10th,
episode
yeah.
ready until the 17th, so that's next week. So that's the weird thing is, all of a sudden they had this gap. And then they admitted that, like, their whole bullshit with Paramount was basically them playing poker. They never had all these episodes. They had animated like they lied about. They were just doing that to play poker with Paramount, I guess. But
don't they make these episodes really quickly too? Like,
yes,
they have an amazing
that's the whole
turnaround?
point. Yeah, like because they did it. I don't know if you remember this, Mark, but like, was it three months ago or so, before the show started airing again? Maybe a few more months ago. They actually dropped a whole trailer with all kinds of crazy shit in it that was supposed to be for the season. Well, they came out and finally admitted, like 2-3 weeks ago, when this show finally premiered, that fucking that none of those episodes were real. It was all just a fake trailer they made because they were just fucking with Paramount, because they were trying to get Paramount to get their shit together, basically. But now I'm also hearing reports now that the episodes are still on Paramount Plus, so I don't know for
think
sure
they should be pulling them. And I mean, even uncomfortable with, I know some comedians have made a lot of really tasteless jokes or celebrations on stage about this kind of thing. That I don't think they should be cancelled either. If someone chooses to get up and walk out, or chooses never to pay money to see them again, that's their personal choice. But you can't stop people. Now, that's different if someone is in an official position and it's part of their job, and they're spouting off about this stuff, as we've seen with teachers and some other professions. But comedians or whatever, I'm not into cancelling people like that.
Yeah, and Six just checked too, so
maybe horrible, tasteless things they're saying, and they may be saying it in a horrible, tasteless way.
But they gotta have it.
But you could choose to leave that performance and watch them or support them or whatever.
I'm with you. Like,
there's the option there to not having to go out where to watch it. But this is typical comedy. I have a feeling if I had to take an educate guess, this is probably Comedy Central, because it's really sad that a channel called Comedy Central fears blowback in any direction, because they did the same bullshit when it came to the Muhammad drawing. Remember that? And they censored the entire speech.
That'll get you killed, though. In the reality, unfortunately, it's the truth.
It wasn't like they were going to come to America and stop Matt and Trey. Like, okay, take your best shot. We don't listen to people like that. Fuck them. Draw Muhammad. Who cares? Show it on the damn screen. And I mean that. Like, why listen to these type of people? It's the same bullshit why we caved to China for Doctor Strange with Wong. Stop listening to these people. They're not going to do shit about it. Like, let them try and do the worst. They're not going to succeed with jack shit about fuck with it.
I think for me, there's a distinction between people who, albeit crassly or from a political standpoint, saying something in their show or their comedic performance, or even as musicians, if they're on stage and it's their show saying something, and people who work in, let's say that you're in the military or you're in an official government position and you start crowing about something like this online, well, no, you're in a taxpayer-funded job representing your country in a sense. You shouldn't be mouthing off about political things, especially crowing about something like this. And I think that's different. But yeah, I feel, I mean, the trouble is a lot of the cancellation has been going the other way in the past,
Yeah, sadly.
Yes. So,
And the
but I
thing is,
don't believe in people being cancelled unless they're deliberately threatening someone themselves.
Yeah, there has to some extent, depending on the situation that happens. Like if you're just saying some mouthy off the wall shit, maybe there could be a path to redemption. But if you're trying to outright kill someone, obviously that's a bit more of a challenging situation. Like if you try doing to Charlie Kirk, I don't find there's a path to redemption for something like that because that was deliberate. But if you're someone who said some dumb shit, whatever, man, there's got to be people who have a redemption arc. But we do got to learn the line of what is redemption versus who is irredeemable, and stopping soft on people who do bad shit and somehow continue to get a slap on the wrist. I mean, when you think about the one guy who did the incident to that Irina girl last week, he had been arrested 14 times prior. Yet our wonderful system kept sympathizing with trash like him and letting him out back on the streets. So
his family didn't even want him out.
Yeah, we need to stop being this nice towards criminals. Seriously, we need to be very distinct on what type of criminals.
But that's a very modern Marxist thing.
All I know is it is,
which is that there are no criminals. The system is to blame, and there are no criminals, and you don't arrest people, and you shouldn't have jails and police. No one's ever a criminal, really.
Oh, I know.
That's what the new mayor of New York City believes.
That is a particular philosophy.
Strongly
been getting taught for many years.
Facet of that ideology. I reject.
Send the emergency social worker in.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to learn what type of criminal should have a redemption arc. What type needs to be in regular jail. What type needs to be put in a mental facility. Which ones actually deserve the rare death penalty. This shit needs to be defined very distinctly and clearly. How we treat these criminals rather than constantly just letting them all off the hook because it's the system that's the problem.
Well, when you hear
Here's the thing, the system does have problems. I've dealt with the system many times and I've beaten it and I've lost to it. I don't disagree in the sense that there's problems with this system, but to act like it's the problem for a crime that you commit, fuck off.
Well, when you get statements like Mark was mentioning, the candidate for mayor in New York City, where he say, well, what purpose do jails really serve? Well, actually, they serve quite a number of purposes, first and foremost of which is taking violent criminals off the streets so that people are safer in the community. So that's one purpose. They would rather that, as we've seen with these judges that keep releasing people again and again and again, they don't want that anymore. They want the chaos and the violence in the streets. So.
Well, it's a cycle, like you had said before, Brian. In the 70s, you had the judge in New York City, turn him loose, Bruce, and everyone finally rebelled. Biden famously supported the 1994 crime bill, but Democrats were on board back then because the people were so angry and upset what was happening. So we're going through that cycle again after the George Floyd riots. They, had cashless bail, and we've had horrific murders and attacks on people because these people weren't locked up. And there's, and the even the cops, like one guy was getting arrested in D.C. after the Trump crack up. He's like, "Why are you arresting me?" Or the Trump, surge on crime. They're just going to send me back out on the streets again. I've been arrested so many times, and but he probably found out that's not going to happen anymore. Hopefully, but there's only a few number of people that are really these horrible criminals. I don't know if anyone remembers Bob Grant, an old ABC radio talk show host, very conservative, but he said, once a criminal serves notice on society, that's the message, and then you can't let them back out on the street. Like these people are just horrific people. It's not like I stole some video games. I was a moron. I shouldn't have done that. Multiple multiple violent crimes, and they're letting these people out. I mean, look what happened in DC when that poor Uber driver got killed a couple years ago. The two girls got charged as juveniles and slap on the wrist, and nothing happened to them. I mean,
don't worry.
horrific.
At least you can still defend yourself in the US. Here in Canada, where the police are telling us, no, you're not allowed to defend yourself. So,
Call 911, right? Or what do you have in Canada? What do you have?
No, you have to do what the criminal says.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
If the criminal wants to plug your butt, you have to bend over and take it.
I'd just like to say to E. Clay Thomason, I won't build your head, and I'm going to pump your ma.
I think I understood that.
Well, he probably won't, which is probably just as well. Anyway,
well, there's a little personal story here. My friend's ex was supposed to get 15 years. They gave him 90 days for the same issues you're talking about. And this is not we're not talking about petty theft here. So they beat him to within an inch of his life. And it's a little, because it's a small town, and people in there knew who he was and what he'd done, and they thought, 90 days isn't quite enough, so let's serve you some justice.
Yes.
Ouch.
So there's that. I'm not advocating for it. Just on the record, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just, there's a little bit of civilian justice too.
Yeah, like the Thomas Jefferson had a crime bill, that he wrote, never got passed. But one of the lines in it was, criminals should be tried within a week if found guilty of capital murder. He must be executed on Saturday. If it's on Sunday, he gets a reprieve till Monday. It's like, within a week he wanted the criminal dead. But you can imagine, even
sometimes
people that have the death
mistakes
today,
were made, though.
Oh God, yeah. But you live for years and years on the death penalty, like who was the horrible guy that killed all the college students? Colbert, was it Kohlberger? What was his name? I can't remember.
You were going to say Colbert there.
Colbert, no, but the families agreed to life in prison instead of going through the trial, and they're like, well, some of them said they'll probably never get executed anyway. It'd probably take 40, 50 years to execute the guy, these days. So, but it's just terrific what's happening. I think this, tying into Charlie Kirk and anniversary of 9/11. People are fed up. I mean, they're just really fed up. So it's you can't have this rhetoric that portrays someone as Yahtzee or violent. The words can't be translated to violence. That you've always got to be able to have a debate and talk to people. But social media is part of it too. But everyone is just so ready to just throw insults and the keyboard warriors, and it's just there's no dialogue anymore. It's just it's horrible.
Well,
you can't just talk to people. You say, "Oh, I'm a Trump supporter," like, "Oh, you're the devil. You're horrible," or how about finding some common ground? I mean, it's just they can't function at all.
A lot of them want to function. That's the reality. Like, sure, you'll have your few that do, are great, like Mr. Tickle Trunks of the world, who lean more towards the left, or Keely Chow. Well, obviously, we love those guys. Anyone who's, like them, of that ilk, we love those guys. But a lot of them don't want to rationalize. They view us as their enemy, and that to them, we need to be completely removed, because if to them, we're not, they don't see us as a discussion. They see us as we're fighting them, and we are a threat to anything that they are against. Even though we don't go in with a threat, we are to them a threat. And that's something a lot of people in the center and the right need to understand about these people. There's a lot of them are very irrational. It's nice to want to give the benefit of the doubt, but you gotta understand, like, distinctively, individually, which one is trying to reason you and which one you're not, because a lot of them are not going to go into it with the good faith that you might go into it. So, playing nice with them is not going to work for a lot of them. Just prepare for that accordingly.
I mean, another part of this is the grift, right? Going to the keyboard warrior thing. There's a lot of people out there, especially when you start going through TikTok or Facebook Reels. You start to notice there's a ton of people out there. They start typing shit on their keyboard and realize they can get paid for it They can pay the rent for it. They can put food in the fridge for it. Some of this is nice stuff, like build it yourself kind of things. That's cool, right? But I mean, there's also a whole ecosystem of people who pay their rent and put food in the fridge because they say Trump bad, or even if they say Trump good. It doesn't matter. You take a position, you get paid for it, you build an audience around it, and you keep pushing that position because it keeps paying your bills.
How do I get that one of those jobs, CC?
Well,
I can't do it. No,
and then the viewer starts watching that, right? And as soon as you watch one Trump bad video, well, the algorithm's like, well, they interacted with it. They hit the like button. We're going to send you more Trump bad videos or Trump good videos. Doesn't matter, right? One side or the other. It starts pushing you down that tunnel. And those people keep getting paid because you keep interacting with it, and it keeps feeding you back more and more and more. And it's like it becomes the entire worldview, and it separates your bubble from their bubble, and suddenly we're just all...
I think you've made some good points, but I think Six is asking the real questions in the chat. Is Tom pooping? So I think that's what we should.
I'm just
be
letting you
about.
guys talk. Actually, we have super chats we should get to, and we should get on to some other topics here. We got Anthem 21X who says, just got out of the theater. I was smiling, laughing, chuckling the whole time. I just needed more of the concert at the end. Stonehenge. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. FKHC 2005 says, Tommy, can you hear me? Oh, wait, wrong band. FKHC 2005 also sends us some love. Thank you for that. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I believe it was Michael McKeon and Christopher Guest who used to do a bit much like the whole, who's on first, but with
the Guess Who one.
The Guess Who, yeah.
So who's first? Yes. Well, who's second? Guess who?
Guess
no,
who?
I'm asking you to tell me. And then yes was third on the bill.
You don't have to guess who. Yeah. Who's third? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a copy of that somewhere.
That's great. Please send that to me. I don't have that, but yeah. I actually just got the new book that just came out the day before as well. The story of Spinal Tap. So.
Right. Yeah.
Corbin Dallas says, for the most, JT Kirk is their captain. But for me, Charlie is my captain. May the DNC never know a good night of sleep again. Well,
I'd like to think that some of their consciences may weigh on them, but probably not.
I think
his middle name
wake up. Yeah.
Well, his middle name was James too, right? So Charlie James Kirk. So I'm assuming his parents were Star Trek fans, right? I mean, I haven't heard anything about that, but anyone know? I mean, we got. But just wondering if the chat. I just caught that last night when they put his full name out there. So what was he, 31? So he's younger than Star 31. Trek.
Yeah, and Brian has to leave us here.
Unfortunately, just as we haven't even got around to talking about Spinal Tap 2, but hopefully I will get to see it by next week.
I did enjoy it for what it's worth. So, yeah.
Well, I've read some decent reviews, and they said, obviously it's leaning heavily into nostalgia and very melancholy about the aging thing. But hey, it looks pretty good to me.
They actually don't lean into the age thing as much as you'd expect.
Okay. What do you think of the songs? Just before I go, did you like?
That's probably my biggest gripe.
Okay,
is that they didn't? There's a couple of new songs, but they don't show us the final versions of them. You just see them kind of writing them, and they only use
great songs.
Well, they use all the old songs, and they only use one song from Break Like the Wind, which I think was Bitch School. So all the old songs are there, but I would have loved to have heard at least 2 or 3 new songs too.
Yeah, but I've heard it's pretty good all in all. So
it's short, and that's the other thing is I feel like there's a whole bunch of it missing. Much like
but that's probably like Spinal Tap. There's enough material for a complete second movie.
There's a 4.5-hour cut of Spinal Tap. Yeah,
there is. Yes,
and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 4-hour cut of this either. Yeah.
Anyway, have a great night, everybody.
All right, take
care, Brian.
Bye.
But all right, now we got Goku McDuck who says, "Have Matt and Trey said anything on the incident? Not that I know of yet, but as soon as they do, I'm sure Six or somebody else will bring it to my attention, and we will bring it to yours." And then Goku McDuck says, "The We So Sorry generation believes we owe it to them." Yeah, maybe. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle sent in a super sticker for $1.99. Thank you for that. Joe Pat 87 sends in $1.99. Say one word: dogma. You can both condemn and justify it. Goku McDuck says, odd these people live in karma. They are atheist. Yeah. Tripping Orc gifted 5 memberships. Wow. Well, thank you for that, Tripping Orc. Hopefully you're one of the recipients of that gift. And if you are, be sure to thank him for that. And with that, let's get into one other bit of news before we talk Spinal Tap. Because this was another big news thing today, even though it was kind of overshadowed by the Charlie Kirk news. But Paramount is evidently exploring a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, neither party has commented on this, but this comes just a few months after Zaslav has talked about splitting the company up. This comes right on the heels of Skydance taking over Paramount. And of course, there's been a lot of people hovering around Warner Brothers for a while, like Universal and a few others. And this rumor also comes with, a report, I don't know if it's really a rumor, also comes with news that other suitors are looking to chime in. But I've heard from my little birdies that Zaslav is not interested in leaving. So I'm wondering if this is just a deal for some of the things that are being split off, or if this is a deal to make David Zaslav a part of both companies and let him head up certain things like he has been over at Warner Brothers for both Warner and Paramount. So it's an interesting situation. And then again, I also not even sure that the regulatory commissions would let this go through at this point. I wish we had Script Doctor or Mikey here to discuss this with us, but I'm curious what your guys' feelings are. Just the same. CC, what's your feeling on this? Do you think it'll even happen, or do you think it's
I mean, my first thought was regulatory. Is this even possible? My second thought is Warner in such bad shape that they're about to get absorbed? Actually,
not really.
I'm
and then
sure
their stock spiked right after this news came out too, by the way.
Yeah, it did.
If there's actual fire behind there's got to be more complicated than simply somebody's going to completely buy it.
Well, I think that Ellison was the one who actually confirmed that he's going to put in a mostly cash bid. Was the whole reason that this came out. So yeah.
I mean, are we talking about parts of Warner?
That's what I'm curious about right now too, because Discovery Chief Zaslav said, I think back in April, that they're talking about just separating the company. What I think they're going to do is separate certain divisions out from others, like, because television and cable are dying, but streaming and movies are still their bread and butter, and they've got a lot of IPs. Now, another rumor I've heard is that Paramount is mainly just interested in the IP-driven stuff.
I mean, Paramount wants to own everything in the world.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is the other side of this is Warner Brothers has been suing Paramount over the South Park and some other things. They have this convoluted deal with some of their networks because of, them combining them, like CW and Comedy Central, although CW is no more. I'm sure certain things still exist in its wake, or whatever you want to call it, to where I'm sure somebody wants to probably clean all these things up. But that's the other side of the regulatory thing, is I can't see Paramount or Warner Brothers buying one or the other, because both of them have two of the biggest television catalogs in Hollywood, and that would create another monopoly, especially when it comes to television. So one, it would have to shed a bunch of shit. Like, see, that's the thing, is I don't understand this deal is gonna really consist of. This is in its early phases, as far as we know. I'm sure we'll learn more about it. But Nick, you've been quiet on this. What's your thoughts on this?
This is actually news to me. I've not kept track of anything else in the last few days. Oh boy, this is happening, man. I don't like it. I don't like the idea. And Kaleki actually took words right out of my mouth. Both companies are too big. It seems like all these companies who are doing bad just think, if we merge, we can just save them. How many more times do companies need to merge just to save the other? This is kind of getting insane. This company buys the other company, and then another company buys into buy those companies who merge. Everything just merges and merges and merges. Like,
there can be only one.
Yeah, it just feels like we're eventually coming down to one studio. If we come down to one studio, like, we're gonna have problems, like, as far as like the quality of movies and shows, and it won't be shit like Just the Message, but It'll be everything else as well, because one studio is not going to care when they have laurels to just simply rest on because they have no competition. So I'm really not overall in favor of this. I mean, maybe my mind will change if I hear details that are going to be very deeply convincing. But as of now, I do not like this one bit, because this to me sets a very bad precedent.
Mark,
Yeah,
anything to add?
yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm looking at the market cap, and I'm looking. I found an article, and Warner Brothers' market cap is 31 billion. Paramount, Skydance, who just merged, 17 billion.
Right.
Fox 24, Disney 208, Comcast NBC 124 billion. That's Universal Pictures. Netflix's market cap is 530 billion, and Sony's 177. So, I hear and I agree with everyone saying that you don't want to lose, one studio, but these, they're the kind of the two small guys kind of joining up, massive corporations, of course, with, huge catalogs. But yeah, could you have a Star Trek crossover with Superman? I mean, but it's, what these companies try to do, they try to, if we merge, we'll have efficiencies and we'll save money, and we'll bring, more value to the shareholders. But I can't see this going through.
Yeah, I agree with you. These two are too big. Now, this isn't like if Paramount was eyeballing Lionsgate. We'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah, like one studio or a small studio.
Well, see, Lionsgate's much, much smaller. You got two of the big mass, and this is where I don't think the regulatory commit, because they, we keep hearing all the time that they regret the Fox merger happening, right? And look at what Disney's done with Fox ever since. It's no longer a studio practically anymore. It does technically run on its own, but what have they really released of any? They're a pale comparison to what they used to be. And that's what I see happening here is one of these studios is going to suffer. And Warner Brothers is just way too big. Because they have not just Warner Brothers, they've got, New Line Cinema. They've got all these other smaller companies underneath them, not to mention the networks, the music. Yeah. I mean, the television catalog. I mean, all these things alone make Warner Brothers huge. If anything, they're only second to Disney, really, at the end of the day. And the only reason Universal's any bigger is because they got parks and shit. And Warner used to have shit with, I think,
Universal's
Six Flags.
Got cigarettes.
That's the other thing you found as well, CC, is that they actually get a large portion of their money because they're tapped into which tobacco company is it?
Oh, I think
American Tobacco.
I had to double check which actual company it is, but I believe
so they've got tobacco money behind them.
Still, yeah. They market themselves as a media company, which I guess.
Well, and this all started back in the 70s, right? And I've brought this up before, is when the moguls all died out and they started selling all the movie companies out to, like, Gulf and Western and Seagram's and Coca-Cola and, all these companies that knew how to sell products, but they didn't know how to make a fucking movie. They didn't know how to make a television show. But they knew how to sell shit. And that's why the 80s were so big with the movies we got, and they actually knew how to market these things, right? Like, who would be able to market a movie like Back to the Future now?
Well, they would have to have they'd have to have a message on the screen that the 50s were toxic times, and
not just that, but I mean, just in general, how do you sell that, right? Right? I mean, but Seagram's, I think, was the ones who owned Universal at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but maybe MCA owned them by then. But regardless, it was like, a matter of, we know how to sell shit. We can market shit. We can make shit look, like you want to go and buy it. And look at the Back to the Future poster. I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful painting by Drew Struzan, but at the end of the day, it's almost interchangeable with like a Calvin Klein ad at the time. You know what I mean? Or a Sears catalog ad, because it knew how to sell you what it was. And look at things like Ghostbusters. Like, that's a great piece of iconic, what's the word I'm looking for? Graphic art, right? And it just draws you in. And that's all they needed to sell that. Same thing with Batman. You didn't even need the words Batman.
Yeah, well, Back to the Future, right? She thought his name was Calvin because he's.
Well, yeah, but I did that on purpose. But it does. Right? If you look at it, it looks just like your standard, and that's where this late 70s and early into the 80s, they knew how to market these. Independence Day was probably, between Independence Day and Blair Witch Project in that era, were like probably the two crowning jewels of how to advertise a movie and get it out to the masses and get everybody talking about it. Especially Blair Witch Project, because that movie's a piece of shit. right? Like there's nothing in that movie is even every promise you get out of the title, out of the trailers,
Yeah.
everything, none of that's in the movie.
Great marketing though. Yeah, everyone wanted to. Everyone wanted to see
The
that, yeah.
biggest viral campaign ever, right? Like, and it cost them nothing practically to sell that movie. And Independence Day was just everybody was talking about it. And ID4 was the first time besides T2 where we had the truncating of the title, and it became like this thing that everybody was talking about. But anyway, we're getting off the beaten path here, but we'll see what happens here. I'm not so sure this is even going to happen. But on a unrelated but related note, before we move on to Spinal Tap, because I just saw this come up on the feed too, Highlander has been delayed again. Well, it turns out Henry Cavill got hurt
on the set, or
I don't know. Let's find out here. What does it say?
Or working out, or he's getting old now. Superman's getting very, very old.
It doesn't even say.
On the top, I think when you were scrolling, it said he was preparing for the role. The very first sentence.
Okay, so he's just working out, and he hurt himself. Oh, okay, so preparing. Oh, that sucks. So this is like when you get a new prospect in like football, and they get hurt in a practice game.
Ouch! Yeah. And how long is it delayed? It's delayed for a whole year, they're saying?
I think so. Well, I mean, I think it was initially supposed to be out next year anyway.
I don't think they should remake Highlander anyway. I don't think
was it supposed to be
Highlander sequels, but
okay, so yeah, it was originally supposed to be out next year, but now production has been pushed clear out until early 2026. Wow. This sounds like they're just using his injury as an excuse.
That's way too long. I mean, what the hell did he do?
Yeah, right.
He didn't break a bone. That long. I mean, God bless him, but a bone break doesn't. Yeah, maybe 6 is right. Yeah.
Something smells fishy here.
I know Mackie is only 42. I'm joking, but yeah, as you get
something
up there, like
there.
You know, you get hurt walking across the kitchen. You know, sometimes when you get
that
older.
I can see, but yeah, that's too long. But anyhow, unless it's because it's conflict with another schedule, perhaps, I don't know. Yes, I did see Michael Caine is coming out of retirement, so we'll see how that turns out. But
wow.
So I saw Spinal Tap yesterday. Did anybody else get a chance to see it yet?
I didn't, unfortunately.
Nobody? Bueller? I'm kind of surprised because
I was looking for that boot.
I had my reasons for why I
I can understand because you're usually dealing with kids and stuff, but honestly, I was surprised at how many people were in the theater.
That's good. That's good. I like to hear that. That makes me happy. You know, people were going out to see it. That's good. That's fantastic.
And man, this movie is so good. It's not as good as the original. It does not go to 11, but it does rock. Now Brian was saying something about the nostalgia. Yeah, somewhere about a 9, more like a 7 or 8. But I don't think this one relies on the nostalgia as much as say like Happy Gilmore 2 did. There is some of those moments. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're really clever with the stuff they do bring back. And you only get like once or twice where they have to do a flashback to kind of remind you of who somebody is, maybe, perhaps, and with good reason.
It's a fine line between clever and stupid.
Exactly. And I felt like this was handled very well. There's no political bullshit in it. The closest thing to a woke incident is actually kind of funny, and I don't even want to give it away because it's part of the plot. But it plays into their new drummer. Because as you know...
I know who the new drummer
Nobody wants to be their fucking drummer. They have a whole scene where they're interviewing all these drummers, and they're like, "You want to it's just for one gig. You don't have to leave the band." They're like, "Well, you know," it's because the best part is like they got Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he's like, "I would love to, but I'm so busy right now. You know who would be great and who would probably who's not doing anything? Lars Ulrich." And they're like, "Metallica's Lars? Yes, give him a call. I'm sure he'd love to do it." So they call Lars, and he's like, "God, guys, I would love to, but I got this gig with Metallica." They're like, "You don't have to leave the band. No, it's just for one gig only, one night only. It's just for one thing." He's like, "Yeah, but I'm so super busy. But you know who's looking for work right now? Chad Smith for Red Hot Chili Peppers." So, that's like the whole scene. And then the one guy's finally like, "Yeah, I'll just be frank with you guys. I don't want to die." And they're like, "Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, that we can respect that." So I mean, it works. I mean,
Well,
I'm sure you've
hundreds
seen
of people spontaneously combust every year.
yeah, each
so,
year. But like, yeah, one of the few times they do actually have a flashback is their manager now is what's his face's daughter,
Sir Ian Hogg's daughter.
not Eden, not Eden Hogg's daughter, but the guy with the their manager,
Oh, the guy with the paddle. Yeah, what's his name?
Yeah,
Ian? Was it Ian. What was Ian's last name? I can't remember. I think it was Ian.
Sir Ian Fourth or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's his daughter now that's running the group, and she's actually pretty funny too. So like, even that doesn't feel like it's a woke thing that's done to it, because she's just as ditzy as can be.
Is Fran Drescher in the movie? Or
Fran Drescher makes a cameo. I'm not gonna
Good.
spoil anything.
Don't
Like,
spoil it,
yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. Like 90% of the people that you would expect to show up probably show up.
Billy Crystal.
He's not in it, unfortunately, but
No, he's not, yeah.
but like any of the main-ish people that had like a major point to do with that are in it, or mentioned, or at least, addressed.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. And it carries along the same format as the original. The only thing, I do have some complaints. I'm not going to say that it's perfect. I'm upset they didn't use some more of their newer music from like Break Like the Wind, and they didn't do any new songs. Like, they have them like writing like 3 new songs, but you never actually get to hear the finished products.
No Lick Your Love Pump Part 2.
No. Well, see, the only new song they had in there, and I say new in quotations because it's from 92. Okay, so for those who don't know, they did do a reunion tour. Like, they actually went out on tour, and you could go see them in concert and shit back in 92, and they did it again in the early 2000s, or mid 2000s. And they did albums each time for those. Well, in the middle one that I'm talking about, they did the album Break Like the Wind. Now, if you guys remember seeing them on Simpsons, that's when that album came out. They sang the song Break Like the Wind on there. So the only new song that they had from that album in the movie was Bitch School, which was the original single from that album. Other than that, I don't think they had any of the other songs other than stuff that was in the first movie. Because then the third album they brought out was just the original songs, but they were in like slowed down acoustic jazz versions and stuff. They like reimagined versions of their original music. And they also did a concert at that time as well. So like they do address those things in the movie, right? Like, they even bring up things from the Return of Spinal Tap special. If I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but that came out at the same time as Break Like the Wind. And like, they had because like they showed what the guys had been up to in the interim since the first movie. And they actually talk about, because Nigel actually talks about his inventions. Because for a while there, he was trying to come up with inventions, but he had a failed invention where he tried to come up with a portable wine cup. And they bring wine glass, and they bring it up in the movie and stuff like that. So there's, and the keyboardist they have is the same guy who's been with them since Break Like the Wind and stuff like that. So they even address certain things like, so I mean, they kind of mix reality with the fake shit, right? Like, they do address that they were at the Live Aid thing or whatever they were at, and all that kind of stuff like that they use footage from. So I mean, there's that kind of business too. But I mean, overall, there's a story to it. Like, they're contractually obligated to do one more show. And so that's why they're together again, and they haven't spoke in 13 years and all this other kind of stuff. So it works. I thought it was funny. The audience loved it. There was tons of cheering. Like, I guess I saw it with the proper crowd. Like,
was it opening night or?
Yeah, it was a fan event. Now, I got pissed because it was supposed to have a live Q&A, and they didn't show that at my theater. Which I don't know why.
Oh, like after the movie or before the movie?
Well, I think it was supposed to be before the movie, and I think that's why we had so many previews, because I started getting pissed that we had so many fucking previews. I think they showed previews over that instead of showing the fucking thing is what happened. Because they ended up believe it or not, this is the weird part, and I didn't think about it until after the fact. They ended up cutting off the Nicole Kidman AMC thing.
I'm sick
like
of that
halfway through it.
Thing.
Me too, and I'm like, oh, thank God they cut it off. Well, then the movie just starts. Well, then I'm sitting here realizing after the fact, because I thought, okay, maybe the Q&A is after the movie. It's supposed to be a quote-unquote live Q&A. I'm like, because my buddy who went with me is asking, like, well, how are they going to do a live Q&A? I'm like, I'm sure they'll have, like, a QR code on the screen, and you probably send in messages, and they'll probably pick, like, 5 or 10 of all the, because it's supposed to be only at, like, IMAXs and Regals or whatever it was.
Did you ask the theater what happened?
I asked the one kid that was there, and he had no clue what the fuck I was talking about. I tried calling today to talk to a manager about it, and I didn't even get an answer. So yeah, go figure on that. But no, overall the experience was fun. I want to see it again soon. I think most people would enjoy it. I hope the crowd that I had at the theaters kind of indicative of how it's going to do this weekend, because I think we need a win as far as comedy goes, because Naked Gun didn't quite do it, but maybe Spinal Tap can. And no, I mean, if you're a fan of it, I'd say check it out. Which is funny because my buddy who went with me, I thought he's seen the movie and all this other stuff. He's only seen bits and pieces, and the only way he knows of Spinal Tap is that he had Break Like the Wind because they were on The Simpsons, and he was a Simpsons fan growing up. I'm like, what? You've never seen the movie? He's like, well, I've seen clips.
Look what I found in my basement last night. I don't know how I came across this. Going through some old stuff.
There you go. Break Like the Wind, motherfucker.
Yeah. And this is a cassette tape for you youngins out there. Yeah.
They just re-released all the albums again, remastered too, by the way.
Yeah, so it's my old classic.
And the soundtrack comes out, I think, on the 12th, so tomorrow.
Oh, look at all the liner notes and everything. Oh, that's a big. That's what was fun about. Well, you know, vinyl's obviously much better, but come on, focus. But yeah, at least you got something with it. Cassettes weren't as good, but yeah. So all the
I had that back in the day.
The song notes, yeah. But yeah, just God, you gotta love Spinal Tap. So
the tap.
Maybe I'll Tap lives. Yep. It's just so quotable too. I mean, you just can't stop quoting that movie.
Yeah.
So, and everyone in the music business just loves that. You know, I got a brother-in-law who's a sound engineer for a band, and God, he's just like, they would just be in the van and like, let's watch Spinal Tap again. They're going from gig to gig, and and it's just so true to. That's what comedy has to have, some truth to it, right? To kind of hit home. And
that's where I said they even mix.
It works, yeah.
They even mix some of the reality in with the movie, like because I guess like the Garth Brooks video that went viral of him doing Big Bottom with Faith Hill. Right. Like they use that in the movie as one of the catalysts for this happening, right? Because the what's her face says, like, when I got Spinal Tap, I thought they were a dead fucking group. Like I couldn't do anything. They had not, and then all of a sudden that video went viral with Garth Brooks, and I saw, the opportunity to strike, So they even worked that kind of shit into the movie. But yeah, I see somebody said they should have a new album. They are doing a soundtrack. It is coming out tomorrow. But like I said, I don't think it has any of the new songs on it, but you have like a bunch of the classic songs with like Elton John and a bunch of the other guys, and they're singing with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. We'll try to go this weekend yet.
The cameos were fun, like to see all the musicians and stuff in it. And those got like
McCartney's in it, right? You said McCartney's in it?
He's got a good scene. I don't even want to ruin it. It's him. He's good in it. And of course Elton's good in it. And their new manager. Okay, so the guy that takes like the role of the record company, his gimmick is he's an asshole, right? Like, but his whole thing is he can't hear music.
What do you mean he can't hear music? He's deaf?
He just can't hear. He can't, like, he goes, tell me to sing a song. And Marty goes, happy birthday, can't sing it. If you sang it to me right now, I wouldn't even know it. So like that's his thing, is like he can't even hear music. So like he's constantly throwing bad suggestions out there constantly. Like he doesn't even understand who like Elton, like, because like the Elton Johnson, he's like, well, it's good, but isn't there a little too much piano? And like all the guys look at him like he's Elton fucking John. Like piano's kind of his thing. Like, so like there's that guy. Like, I mean, again, there's tons of great bits in it. He's singing impaired. Yeah, he can't sing. He doesn't hear music.
Can't hear music, yeah.
So it's kind of a better version of the joke that what's his face did in Peacemaker with he can't differentiate between birds.
The bird blindness. The
bird blindness. So he's music blind.
How many people Googled to see if that was a real thing? Raise your hand.
You did.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a thing?
No, it's not a thing. No.
Damn, I was hoping it was.
Well, it's like, do people do have face, but like Brad Pitt allegedly, there's a disease for you can't recognize someone's faces. Brad Pitt allegedly.
That's just an excuse for not remembering people's names.
Yeah.
The tap water. I want that for real. I want that shit for real. I'm like, I hope that's real. They bring out this thing called tap water, and of course it's a Stonehenge with water, and it just says tap water with the Spinal Tap thing, and they're like, is it like special water? It's like, no, it's just tap water. It's like,
Oh, now someone's saying it is real. Davina's saying it is real. No,
it might be.
I never heard.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
I
musicality
Googled it.
is. Oh, that might be. Yeah.
Maybe that's what they consider, right? Yeah, because I mean, you can't
Yeah.
recognize someone's face. Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, you got a midget? I want a midget.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, don't tell Tom. He's gonna want that midget
That's
from
not
you.
fair.
That's like Tom's dream.
Yeah.
I want a couple midgets. That'd be awesome.
Seriously, you really do have everything. Like, it's insane, Mark. Like, you really don't have to do any reach around.
Yeah.
Well,
My
they
wife
just
would be
hold
jealous if I
hands.
did a reach around with anyone else. Yeah.
To do a reach
Or
around,
anything
midgets have to
else.
hold hands. So that's the problem.
I just got to make sure I don't
You gotta
trample
have
my
2 or 3
dwarves
of them.
underfoot.
If you're big guys like me and Mark, it might take 3 midgets holding hands. but
Yeah. Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Wow. Did this become Toxic Tuesday all of a sudden?
all of a sudden. Well, I mean, Spinal Tap 2 is probably a Toxic Tuesday movie just waiting to happen.
Good.
Although,
There
like I
we
said,
go.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's a ton of toxicity in it necessarily either, but it doesn't even have a remotely like none of it felt woke at any time.
Well, that's the thing. Reiner's always been good at making those types
Yeah,
of
he's-
movies. Always.
He's good at keeping his politics out of his movies. That's one thing, and I'm glad I can say that. Now, again, mileage will vary because I too have seen some mixed-ish reviews, and again, it's not nearly as good as the first movie. Did it need to exist? Fuck no. But I did not walk out of it feeling like I did walking out of Beetlejuice. Like, I actually felt like I had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. The music was great. It was a hell of an experience getting to see it on IMAX. Now the movie itself, I guess my other gripes would be is that it just felt like any other streaming type movie. It could have just been a straight to stream. As far as the quality, the visual of it, it just didn't feel like a film. But that's not its fault. That's every movie now, right?
Well, it's a documentary too, anyway, right?
But it didn't even have like
quote,
that
unquote.
documentary feel to it in a way. It kind of had more like a YouTube documentary kind of feel to it, if that makes sense. I mean, the first movie, I think even though they shot it on 35, it almost feels like they shot it on 16. Because like half the shit's always out of like focus and shit on purpose, it feels like, and it's moving. And this one's much more cleaner and just shot straight on, a little bit more like your typical Office stuff, which is basically Spinal Tap inspired. I mean, let's be real. Even Ricky Gervais himself has said flat out that Spinal Tap is the reason The Office exists. Right.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Like we always talk about streaming in the movie industry. I mean, a lot of people, just wait, 90 days. What is it? 45 days? Then I can see Spinal Tap 2 on, I'm going to go.
Hopefully they'll hold it off a little longer if they can. I don't know if they will or not, but
that's what happens. It's like people say, just wait for, but the opening night thing, like you said too, you went to that fan event and it's so much more fun when everyone's going crazy in the movie theater and, it's an event, right? And then
it was kind of fun how everybody was into it. Oh,
yeah,
and I
you're
did
not
get
on
a
your
popcorn
phone.
bucket and a cup. I forgot. Hang on.
Oh, what's the popcorn bucket for that? Is it guitar?
It's not real special, but hang on.
Are you able to look at it? Don't even touch it. But it's just some of the the best times in the movie theater. When you're home, you're like, oh, let me check Twitter. Let me go on. It's like, you're always distracted. And, at least in the movie.
Still
theater,
got the old
it's got your
tagger
full
on it. It's just a bucket that says Spinal
Just a
Tap 2,
bucket.
the end continues, and it looks like a Marshall amp, and they all go to 11. And then the cup is just Stonehenge, and then on the other side it says Spinal Tap 2.
Were those expensive or were they?
No, these were actually really cheap. Believe it or not. I got the Duo because he didn't charge me for the fucking popcorn.
Okay, so popcorn
And
free.
I think it was because they had the popcorn machine off already. Because together they were only like $30. And then they had and this is the other funny part, is where I think the romance with merchandise is getting over with in theaters. They had a crap ton of older stuff for 50% off.
Trying to get rid of it.
Yep, we're talking stuff all the way back to Beetlejuice, speaking of, but like tons of Falcon and
Oh, I'm
Thunderbolt
sure.
shit.
Yeah.
I bought some Chucky shit too because it was only 50% off. Like it was cheap as hell.
Collect dust.
How about
Yeah, I got it.
FF stuff?
They did not have any Fantastic Four. I think that's considered too new yet. See, they had some of the newer stuff sectioned off, like because they only had like one Jaws plushie left. They were all out of the
probably
Superman.
sold out.
Yeah, they were all out of the Superman and Crypto plushies, but they still had the Superman pillow where it's just the Superman symbol. I almost checked to see how much the Mission Impossible blanket is, but I'm like, I don't know, not worth it.
Do you need it?
No,
Send
not
it to
really. I was gonna
me.
give it to somebody. I was gonna give it to like Nick or Culture or somebody like that, probably. But
Culture just would want just so he could say I'm sleeping with Tom Cruise.
But I got a set of Chucky socks, a Chucky cap, and a Chucky stocking cap for like dirt cheap.
Culture sleep with Tom Cruise. I guess mission no longer impossible.
Sadie tried to get my Jaws plushie. It's funny you say that, Six, when I pulled it out. She's like, oh, new toy for me. She jumped at it like it was hers. Yeah.
Oy.
And I can't blame her because a lot of her toys are like that. She does have a shark. She's actually
nice.
She does have a shark. It's one of those tough toys too. And she went and took it outside and she's got it somewhere buried out there. So I tell her to go look for her shark and she'll go looking for it. But she's got Sharky.
Sharky.
And actually the AMC was selling the FF, the Galactus one, sold out in theaters, but they were selling that online. And along with the Herbie one, which was they're both around $70-$80, and but they were cheaper because it didn't come with the popcorn, but still very exciting. I think Galactus was still $80.
There's only a couple I missed so far that I wanted. One was the Chucky one.
Yeah, and Jaws, like they was like, oh, now's your chance to get the Jaws popcorn bucket. Clicked on it, sold out. It's like bastards.
Yeah, that one's been a tougher one to get your hands on. The other one I want was the Superman one where it looks like he's cooking the popcorn for you. And I think somebody may have found one for me, but I'm not 100% on that. I think Scott had messaged me about it or somebody had here recently, but
I got the newsstand one, which is pretty decent, but
that's what I got.
Yeah.
Patrick wants to know for $4.99, is it worth seeing in theaters? I just came in. Well, you just spent $4.99 to ask me that, so I'm going to say yes. Because for you, whether you see it in IMAX or regular, it's worth seeing it in regular, if not. But you
have to see it in Dolby.
In Dolby?
Dolby.
She means Dolby. She even makes a cameo.
Wow.
And I'm not even gonna. I don't want to spoil like all the little tidbits, right?
Does any skin conditions going on?
Not this time out.
Everyone is
but she's also partially the catalyst for certain things too, which is funny. But you'll see when you see it.
See it. Yeah.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, I didn't have much else to add other than that. I don't want to spoil anything or get into spoilers until anybody else has seen it, and then maybe we can talk about it a little more. But this isn't really a movie you can break down like a Marvel film exactly. What could we do? Just sit here and quote it and say what our favorite parts were and maybe some things we didn't like or, stuff like that. But no, hopefully you guys get a chance to see it this weekend. If you guys get a chance out there to see it this weekend, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Until then, Nick, what you got going on?
I'll be on TNT. Obviously no Clawby's Comic Shop Saturday, as I'll be in Arlington Heights for the Krigler meetup with him, Core Black Garrett, and all that crew.
I wanted to go, but I don't know if I'll be able to afford it.
I understand. You're also just on vacation, so you have more than enough good reason. Toxic Tuesday, we talking old school, which will be fun as well. Was going to do a Transformers video yesterday with my buddy Ironcaster, but obvious reasons that didn't come into fruition. Just was not feeling it. Maybe we try again later in the week. But there will be stuff coming out on Bonded by Metal, so keep your eyes and ears open out for that. Definitely a lot of videos coming down the line on that one. But it's been good to be hanging out with the boys and good let out some of the tension we're all feeling. So thanks for all being here, Chad, and thanks for having me, Tom.
Of course. Mark, what you got going on?
The usual Sunday Night Geekery. And thank you again. It's a tough day. Been a tough couple of days. So good to hang out with you guys. But on a lighter note, I did make this for Paulie. So if anyone wants a Pedro, let it go.
Lord.
He was laughing hysterically when I showed this to him. So
Doesn't
you
look
know,
gay
Pedro-
enough.
well, I could
Yeah, it
maybe
looks a bit too straight.
I could maybe paint him pink somewhere. I don't know, but
Give him a glow stick.
give him a glow. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll make a glow stick for him. Yeah, because he's in that clip with the
An
with the
Elton
glow
John
stick. So.
earring would be helpful too.
Yeah, that's a good. See, that's why I'm glad that I asked you guys. Yeah. So, yep. But yes, catch. We'll be doing the geekery. We'll be back Sunday night, probably 10:30 Eastern. Talking. Hopefully, I'll have seen Spinal Tap by then. We'll be able to talk about it. So, yep. But thanks everyone, and catch you soon. Yep.
CC, you got anything going on?
I'm just gonna keep playing Hollow Knight for the rest of the evening
All right.
and go to bed.
Sounds good. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get the hell out of here. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you on the next show.
Cute kitty.
Available now for the first time ever on DVD from Midnight's Edge After Dark Productions. It's My Two Dads, the complete first season starring Mexican Iron Man Tom Connors and Culture Casino. Available now for $19.99 while supplies last.